don't forget to check out the clip at the end of the video for more information on the channel. But in case you don't get a chance to, let me know your feelings. Share it on the video. That means liking, disliking, commenting, and subscribing. Let me know what you think, and that also helps the channel grow too. Hey everyone. Alright, so here is my COVID video. It's kind of weird to have to make a COVID video with it, but there's kind of a motivation toward it. One thing I have noticed, kind of being the car guy for a lot of my family, friends of friends, acquaintances, whoever, is when something goes wrong, I get asked questions a lot. And a question that's starting to come up now that restrictions are starting to be lifted, is I'm starting my car and it's making this noise, or it's doing this, or the brakes did that, or the wheels did that. And I'm starting to get a lot of those questions, and I started thinking to myself, if this is just happening with my kind of close-knit group of friends and family, what's going to happen to everyone else out there, right? We've never had a time where our cars, more or less, have all been parked collectively like this. So as we get back out to work, we start going back out to parks or whatever, and we start driving our car, you're going to notice things that are kind of odd or weird. So I thought to myself, why not make a video and talk about it? I think it's a good idea, right? So that's what this video is just really going to cover. It's going to talk about the things you will notice, the things you'll see, potential issues. One thing I'll point out is you may not see anything in this video. Like, in other words, you may start up your car and it'll run great, no problem. However, someone else may see everything in this video. Some of it's going to be common sense. You'll think, why are you making this video? It seems pretty obvious. A lot of the people are going to be like, oh, wait, that's actually a good point. A lot of these points I'm going to be mentioning in here are things that people have already asked me questions about. So a lot of it is stuff that I have been asked about, hence why it's in the video. So no more talking. I want to make the video kind of quick and easy. It's just simple stuff, but stuff to look out. So I'm going to keep it simple. We're going to head right over to it and go through my top 10 COVID-19 things to look for. So the first thing is your battery. So the battery, what you're going to see here is, if your car's been sitting for a while, depending on the age of your car, you could see where you're going to get a battery discharge issue. The car may be hard to start, or may not even start at all. You may need a boost. This may seem weird to you, even if you have a new car, 2017, 2018 or something. Doesn't mean the battery is bad. It just is the car sitting. Depending what type of car it is, what systems you have running in there, even if you have any aftermarket stuff, it could kill this battery from sitting for a while. One thing you can do to kind of combat this is start up the car and actually take it for a drive. I know we're already a couple months into this already, a few months in, so you may not have been doing that, but it would be a good idea if you haven't to start doing it. Even if you take it for a drive once a week. Starting up and letting it run alone is not enough, because the alternator doesn't generate enough power to charge this up fully. Some cars, the alternator doesn't actually start charging the battery right away. Some of the newer cars actually has to be driven a bit before that happens, believe it or not. So it varies by applications, but the battery is the first thing you want to watch for. And you also, again, you want to run it too, because aside from the fact that it could actually discharge, you can actually have the battery fail prematurely if it's not running properly and one of the cells go bad. So you do want to do what you can to make sure that you're either running the car every once in a while or checking over it. Just give it a good drive. Before you go take that car, your wonderful car, whatever car it is, out for the first run, check all your fluids. The car's been sitting for a while and things like that. Things can settle in the car. So with the car off, I know some fluids you're supposed to check with the car running, but do it first with the car off. Just take a quick look at your brake fluid, your power steering fluid, your coolant, even your washer fluid, your engine oil, your transmission fluid. You check everything over. Then some things, like for example, the engine oil and the transmission fluid, start up the car, run it for a bit, and then check it again. Obviously, don't check coolant with the car hot, because for all safety reasons. Power steering and brake fluid doesn't matter. You can check those cold. But yeah, check over your fluids and make sure everything's topped up and good before taking the car for a run. Hopefully, when you park the car up, you've actually checked the fluids and topped everything up beforehand. But I know a lot of people wouldn't even think about it. Every single person I know didn't think about it, which is perfectly fine, completely understandable. But you do want to take the time to do it now before you go on the road, before you have something major happen, right? Also, if it's the first time driving the car and you haven't driven it before, pull the car back and check for leaks. As things cool and settle, you could have fluid leaking, and that would be an indication of a problem. So just check for all that as well. Now, if you're able to, go down and check your drive belt. My drive belt, for example, is all the way under there. So, Every car is different. Some easier, some harder. But check your belt to make sure nothing's happened, hasn't failed, hasn't gone soft or anything like that. You want to make sure it's good and firm. So protecting the belts here, you want to just push on it with the car off, obviously. Push on it, make sure it's still nice and firm, make sure the pulleys look good, things like that. One thing you're going to notice right off the bat when you start this car up, if it's been sitting for a while, is you may hear a ticking noise. The ticking could be a couple things. It could be from just the car sitting for a while and the plugs have kind of, I don't want to say fouled, but they've kind of built up carbon and it's gotten cold and hard. So it may burn off for a bit and you're going to hear a little bit of a valve tick from that. The other thing is that you can see carbon buildup on the inside. These two things will take longer. You may hear the ticking for extended periods of time. Another thing that may happen is just from the oil sitting and settling in the pan. As it rises back up and gets to the valves, it may make a tick, and that tick may only last for a few seconds even, and then all of a sudden it's gone. So keep that in mind too. You may hear ticking on your car when you do start it up. Okay, so this one shouldn't be a problem if your car's only been sitting for a couple months, but it can be a problem depending on how frequently you check your tire pressure. And I can tell you from experience, not everyone checks their tire pressure. So the thing we're talking about is flat spots on the tire. So if your tire's aired up and it's good and the car's parked, theoretically, even for like 3 months or anything like that, it shouldn't flat spot your tires. And that's when you actually get your tires pretty much perfectly round, but from sitting, the weight of the car, especially on the front wheels, but could be back too, it gets actually, if it bottoms out the bottom of the tire, and then when you start driving, it's like a ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum sort of thing, and then sometimes it corrects itself and sometimes not. Now, again, if your tire pressure is 2 spec and it's all good and there's no problems, you should not see this problem at all. It shouldn't happen, really. But unfortunately, a lot of people do have soft tires. Hopefully, you guys have heeded my advice in the past and always check your tire pressure. It's one of the most important things. But if you haven't and the tire's got low air, then the weight sitting on it will push down on the tire, and the tire pressure in there is not enough to give to counter the force of the weight of the car, and that it will sit further on there and it will flat spot. So be aware that if you haven't already, check your tire pressure, make sure it's good, and air it up and everything. And if you drive it, you notice a slight flat spot, take it easy on the car, drive for a bit, and hopefully it corrects itself. Sometimes it does, but also if you notice it really bad and it's dangerous, don't drive your car. But just be aware that could happen. But like I said, I think for majority of people, this shouldn't be an issue. Next up, we're going to be talking about the brakes and the wheels here, because there's a few things that are going to happen here that you will notice that could actually be, I want to say, alarming or throw you off guard. So especially if this car is outside, sitting outside in the moisture and stuff like that, then you may get 2 things that are going to happen here. First, you may see is that your wheel bearings are going to start making noise. They're going to make like a scratchy noise, right? Hopefully, as you drive the car and it warms up, that noise should go away. But, it may not, and you may have some permanent damage. I'll be honest with you, that's very, very unlikely to happen. But scratchy noises is possible. That's because just from the bearing sitting, the grease inside may kind of fall down and kind of settle at the bottom. Then as you drive, it kind of spins it around again and gets it going. The other thing is the brakes. This is a bigger one. This one, I guarantee you, a lot of people are going to see. And as your car's sitting, the brake pad itself is going to start reacting with the rotor, and it could stick and hold together. You may go put the car in drive, and it's going to not go anywhere. It's going to feel like it's completely stuck to the ground. You accelerate a bit, push off, and then all of a sudden it launches off. And actually, what a lot of people describe it as feeling like the tires are stuck to the ground. That's not the case. It's actually the brakes. The tires won't stick to the ground. Trust me, that won't be a thing. But it's the brakes that are possibly sticking together. So as you drive and as you press the brakes, actually, it may give you either you may get some brake fade. It won't react the way you want, or you may feel a slight vibration. Take it easy on the brakes. Don't pretend it's like brand new brakes. Just let us settle in. And most times it'll go away without any issues. That one is going to be a fairly common one. All right, this is a simple, easy one. It's superficial, but trust me, it'll pay off. As your car has been sitting, unless you've been going out and washing yourself because you have nothing better to do, you're going to get a nice thick layer of dust that's going to cover your car. Don't just wipe it off. If you can, wash it off as soon as possible. Because as people rub and stuff like that, if you go back to parking lots, you go back to your work, and someone brushes against your car, you're going to brush all that wonderful dust onto your paint, scratch it up, and if you care about that sort of thing, that's going to be kind of annoying. So simple, easy. Wash your car if you can, especially if it's got that thick layer of dust or anything on it. All right, so you get back into your car and it's sounding old and creaky, like if it's has arthritis or something like that. Well, you're gonna see it could be a few things. Could be your rails on your seats. Ignore my dirty car. Could be the doors here. It could even be things like fit and finish on the car. As the car's been sitting for a while and you sitting in everything, things can creak. You especially open the door, it can make a creaky noise. Now, I grease up my stuff, as you could tell, so no noise. Not everyone does. In fact, a lot of people don't, which is, again, understandable. It's an easily overlooked thing. But, you can see a lot of noise there. Throw some white lithium grease on there. If it's your rails, vacuum it up, and then throw a little bit of grease on there too. Whatever you got to do. From sitting and everything like that, things like that there, even over here, right? These things can start jamming up or anything like that. It does happen. I've seen it happen already. So, keep an eye for things like that. All right, so you sit back in your wonderful car, ready to venture out into the world, and it smells weird. This is not uncommon, actually. This happens because if your car has been sitting for a while and you haven't opened it or anything, first off, who knows what you left in there? I don't know you. I don't judge. Whatever you do. But McDonald's bags or anything like that, all that could smell and create a must in there. Aside from that, actually, even cleaning products, depending what products you use. If your car, especially if it's out in the sun, it'll start baking the products that are in there. If you have like detailers on your materials, on your leather seats or cloth seats or whatever. And one, it'll make your windshield kind of dirty. Two, that can also add to the smell. And three, just generally, just musty smells that happens. So if you see that, first off, a good thing actually to help with that is those little packets you see when you buy shoes and stuff like that. I always keep a few of those around in a safe jar because they're not good for you or whatever. But putting them around in a couple spots if your car's been parked for a bit, because they absorb some of the moisture, which again helps with the smell. It's also good. Side note: if you have windshields that fog up, you put them where the vent blows and stuff. It helps kind of absorb. It's a separate story. But aside from that, that helps kind of absorb some of the moisture in there. If you have a garage or anything like that, leaving your windows cracked a bit helps a lot too. Aside from that, open your windows, give your car a drive. It'll air out. It's just general mustiness, but it's not so bad. So, next thing up now is to kind of give your car a good wipe out. Now, what we know about the virus itself is that if your car, especially if your car's been parked and it has been moved in a couple of months or anything like that, there's a good chance that the virus is dead. From what we've read, that seems to be the case. It doesn't have a long life that from sitting on its own. However, if even if that is the case, let's say, it's a good idea to give things a good cleanup. So get your gloves, my gloves there. Get some nice disinfectant wipes. Give the steering wheel a wipe, your shifter, anything you touch, turn signals, washer fluid, power windows, locks, all this stuff here, handles, stereo controls. If you have other people in your car, have them clean any of those areas. Anything like that. This is before you go out. This is like your first drive out. Don't go hard. You don't have to go hardcore. You don't have to go and get like all sorts of cleaning products and go all out in your car unless you want to, of course. Which I always say go for it. But this is just before you head out. I mean, you haven't driven your car in a while. Give it that nice little quick go at it. All right. So to add to my last point. With the wipes and stuff like that. Keep those handy. Keep them in the car. Tell you why. I don't know which camp you're in, and I don't judge whichever one you're in. You may be in the camp that's like, this is a complete hoax, it's man-made, or it's a conspiracy, or nothing's going on at all. You may be in the camp like, oh, this is the end of the world. This is just a disaster, and it's going to be the end, and we won't make it to 2021. You may be in the camp that's like, oh, it's manageable, we can handle it, but it's going to go on for another 7 years, or anything in between. Who knows, right? There's so many of those out there. One thing we can agree on, though, I think, is that you should still be cautious and careful, because even if you're in the camp that doesn't believe anything's going to happen, you never truly know, right? So here's the thing. As you're heading back out and you get to your work, or you start going out and interacting, I don't know how your grocery supply was or anything like that, but, as you start buying groceries and stuff, you head out, get shopping carts, just take a wipe and wipe the shopping carts. Big one, getting gas. You're going to get gas, wipe down the gas nozzle, right? Why not? Or wear gloves. Get back to work, if you're in a call center job, phones, wipe down the phones. You don't know who used it before. If you're in retail, wipe down the keypads, right? You never know. Good idea to keep some wipes hanging around, right? And just use it for any type of interactions or anything like that, any type of items that multiple people are interacting with. So, I think that covers all the major stuff. I mean, there could be other things too. So speaking of, if there is other things, leave it in the comments. Let me know, right? Put it in there if there's things you've been doing, anything you've noticed, anything you feel like is a waste of time. And of course, if you have any questions, always feel free to comment, let me know. And other than that, I want to thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you all next video. Now the YouTube stuff. I always love a great feedback. So make sure right off the bat to subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Now, if you like something on the channel, definitely like it. Give it that thumbs up. If you disliked it, thumbs down for sure. But let me know why. That's what the comment section are for. And whatever it is, if you like something, then I know it's working. And if you dislike something, then I know something didn't. But let me know why, so I can continue to build a channel and make it better for me and for you. Aside from that, commenting is great too. So if there's something you can do better, something you can do different, any tips for other viewers, I'm all about that too. So make sure to put that in there. If you have a question about something that's maybe not even related directly to the video, leave that for me as well. Other than that, I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next video.